Malloy from Los Angeles, or LA, as I think they like to call it. And
Uh,
Dallas, thanks for coming on the show today.
Thank you so much. I was shaking my head at the LA. Oh, that's my comment on this place. But it's great. Whatever. I'm here. No, it's all good.
I think you
Thank you
guys
for
get a
having me.
bad rap down there. I mean,
Of
because
course.
but when you go and you're on the beach or you're doing
Oh
all
yeah.
this stuff, I mean, I don't know if there's a state in the union that really is got more going on in California as far as geography, things to do. The
Yeah.
weather's amazing.
It is.
So
Although
I,
that's hilarious because it's been pouring all night.
it's been
It
pouring
just
down rain down there.
it has. It's been pouring down rain, but see, I like that. So I'm weird, but yeah, no, you're totally right. There's it's beautiful here. It's a paradox living here. You know.
So I was hitting golf balls at 7:30 this morning here in Oregon, out in Mount Angel, Oregon, and
Oh, that sounds
so
great.
yeah, it's gorgeous blue sky day. We love these up here,
Oh
but
man.
I want everybody to know here at Stand Tall that Dallas and I have met already, and we've talked several times on the phone,
Yeah.
and a wonderful person and a lot to share.
Ditto.
She's got a lot of things going on for her, but one,
Yeah.
the big thing we really want to try to get in today, and I think she'll come back for many more episodes. But for today, we really want to focus on a new book that she's been working on. So, Dallas, tell us a little bit about that.
Thank you. It's called Stand Up and Fight, and I'm it's very close to getting published. I don't have a release date yet, but hopefully we'll soon. But it's done. It's in the hands of proofreading and publishing very soon. So or it's in their hands now. But anyway, it's a book for encouragement, and I
Good.
try to sum it up this way: it's spiritual tools it's for fighting spiritual warfare.
Okay.
Incorporates a lot of my true story about my boxing story, about just being a lifelong athlete and coach, and incorporating that into life and just survival. And it's absolutely spiritual tools. And I talk about the lockdowns and just the and wokeism and all that insanity, and just that ultimately it's there's ways to fight it here, and there's things I feel instructed by God to do, but at the same time the biggest way of looking at it is that it is spiritual warfare, and
Right.
that this is the time to lean into God more than ever. And I'm not shy about saying that. And so ultimately it's a book of encouragement and power, and that's what I hope to get across with it.
No, I appreciate all that. I think the
Yeah.
right now it just seems in my world the last couple of weeks, I keep every day several times I keep encountering people. They're quite nervous, and their
Mm-hmm.
anxiety level
Oh,
is really higher than I've seen it in quite some time. And I'm
wow.
pretty chill. I don't get too
Yeah.
caught in all that stuff, but I do see it in other people. And boy,
Yes.
right now there's some. It just seems to be pretty thick right now.
Wow. That just when you said that word nervous, it that just really hits me. That's I and you're right. I know. I could say the same thing with people I talk to all the I'm with people all the time, and I see people's comments online, their feedback about the videos I posted, the videos you posted, and how people appreciate these words of encouragement, because yes, people are absolutely nervous for good reason. But I think that's why all the more reason we need this word of hope and encouragement. And you know we can't people can't get into despair. That's the worst place to be. People need to be encouraged, and I think a lot of it is, I mean, it all comes from God and faith.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
learning about managing your mind, with those spiritual tools, because our minds are there. If you don't have control, if you don't have mental discipline, or be working on that on a daily basis, our minds will just take us off into anxiety and worry and stress and fear, and it's a nightmare. I see it all the time.
Isn't it amazing? I've had this conversation a couple times this week, and it's came into both conversations about
Yeah.
how do you really navigate everything we've both been through.
Yes.
But then when you look at just in life in general for all of our friends, acquaintances, people ask me how you do this, and I'm like, Jesus. I mean, I
Hmm.
don't know
Yeah.
another answer that I don't have another answer that really covers that. How about you?
Yes. Oh, that's it. The end. I mean, there's nothing more to say, and and I have to tell you, it's amazing because the way I was raised and the environment I was in was anti-God and just not spiritual in any way, really. And it was sort of intellect was king and reason and, you know, and
Right.
and there's a place for all those things. Don't get me wrong, but it's not the answer, and it's not what makes you unshakable and unbreakable in life. And people can be deceived no matter how intelligent they are. And so it always comes down to a spiritual tool. I shared a little bit with you before when we've talked. We have some great talks already. I appreciate you so much and what you're doing, and just having gone through the addiction cycle and being an alcoholic, and really, I like that quote. There's no atheists in foxholes, and there's a point where if your back is against the wall enough, you'll you don't care anymore about being right. It's just like those prayers of desperation. If there's a God, whatever, please just help me. So those words are only uttered when you're in absolute despair, but those are some of the best prayers. It's that paradox where it seems like the worst moment, but then it can open up a whole world because you have to be so shaken, and everyone's different to different degrees. But for me, I had to be that shaken for everything for me to be open and to be shaken into a
Right.
state of willingness and receptivity to, hey, maybe I don't know, maybe there is something else, you know and so then the spiritual could start to come in.
Now, so you think
And
it's
it's been a
like,
long
I mean,
process.
we both play a lot of sports and we've both been coaches. So
Yeah.
when you look at athletics in general,
Hmm. Hmm.
and you've been at a much higher level than myself, the fitness and the diet and the nutrition all come into play big time.
Yes. Big time.
And isn't it interesting though that when it comes to our daily lives, and some people just don't go to church. I didn't as a kid. We didn't go. Um, and I didn't start really going until I was 22.
Hmm.
But I think isn't it interesting now the people that even do, if you do read your Bible and you do pray and you get into a good Bible teaching church, what Jesus can do would be the same thing, kind of as nutrition and workouts can do for somebody who wants to be
Yeah.
fit. And
Yes.
if you do that work on a daily basis, I was reading in Deuteronomy this morning. It's at the end of Moses's life,
Hmm.
and all the things that they went through on that entire journey of
Mm.
Moses leading, the
Oh,
people, is an
yes.
incredible story. But their faith goes up and down like a yo-yo through that whole long book. And I finally finished it today,
Oh,
so I got to
yes.
mark it off. But I
Oh.
think for you and I, even though we live in different states and totally different,
Hmm.
big city, small town, that we are surrounded by people who, if they would just say, "Hey, Jesus, man, help me out here," their
Yeah.
lives would improve exponentially,
Yeah.
with
Yes.
that help. So,
Absolutely. And yeah, you're completely right. And people do tend to neglect completely their internal, their spiritual, and focus like just on the physical, the nutrition, the exercise. All that's great stuff, but it's ultimately we are, you know, multi dimensions, and we have to, and that, if you had to pick, obviously spiritual is the most important, but it's all
right,
important. It all ties in together. So yeah, I pray for people all the time and for their awakening. And having been on, I mean, I feel like there are reasons we go through things, and having been on the opposite side, and I used to, I would call people who believe in God the unsophisticated, uneducated, the dumb people, the weak people. I mean, I was in that mindset, and as I'm sure you've encountered, most people don't get to that mindset for no reason. They're taught it, and or experiences of being hurt, being disappointed. You know, maybe prayers that were misguided, which
Right.
I did as a child out of, desperation, that didn't work out the way I hoped. And therefore God's not real. Therefore, oh, well, forget it then, and that's such a trap.
Right.
And it's so easy. It's so easy to fall into. And I know adults that fall into it, and it's easy to stay in that. It's the usual question. Well, if there's a God, then why is the world so horrible? It's like, well, there are reasons for that, but quit blaming God, first of all, because that'll get you nowhere, and people are usually asking the wrong questions, I think.
How did it, I mean, so as your journey came through, I mean, we'll delve into a lot of stuff. It'll take a lot more than one episode because you've had
Sure.
a really interesting life. But,
Yeah.
with your book coming out, how
Hmm.
has what we were just talking about, how does that jumping into what you really wanted to produce in this book? Because I already
Yeah.
told you I want to buy the first copy. I can't wait to buy the first copy.
Yes.
I'm ready to
You
send
got
my
it.
check in. So what 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 are you putting out there for people to get in this book?
Great question. Hope, encouragement, empowerment, hopefully some tools. I like practical, usable tools. I started listening to Joyce Meyer several years ago, and one of the things I like about her, I learned from everyone. I learned from everyone. I everyone's imperfect, but you can learn from everyone. And one thing about her is she gives these practical tools that you can use today. I like that. So I think I pull a lot of that experience that I've had being in recovery from addictions and tools that I've used to combat the monkey mind, just bouncing all over the
Yeah,
place, how to combat
right.
that. And it's, of course, it always comes back to God. And I use a lot of scripture. There's tons of scripture in there. And here's how I
Hey,
use
what's
it.
your favorite verse? Tell me your favorite verse.
Oh man. Well, that's tough. There's so many, but I have to go to the original one. It's the first one I ever memorized, which is John 8:32. You'll know the truth, and the truth is free.
Okay.
That has to be, yeah, because that one,
Pretty much.
that there's a whole long story with that, but yeah, that
Someday
has
we'll
to
get into
remain my
that one.
favorite. Yeah, we'll get into that. But I hope people take it and receive the tools in it and use it, and that it's not just, oh, that's an interesting story, and then go on to the next. It's not a full-on memoir, but I talk about certain points, some of my sports stuff, some of my um, recovery stuff, and just how I've used spiritual tools, how my eyes were open, and hopefully it's helpful. And I speak to the reader. I'm telling you, I'm asking them questions, and I'm talking to them like a coach and a friend, hopefully. And just, I'm very transparent. And I think I go on a couple of rants, but I always bring it back. And what do you think about this? What do you think about this woke insanity and these self, you know, um, elect not elected, these self-appointed officials saying we're going to do this and this is what you're going to do. I mean, I don't like any of that. I don't think any American likes that.
Right.
And so I think in some ways it's permission. I don't have the authority to give anyone permission to do anything, but I think sometimes we all at different points in life almost need someone as an example in a situation to kind of just show, like, oh, I can do that. Oh yeah, they're not concerned about what other people think. I can do that too. And so in some ways I think it hopefully will open people's eyes, because I can just tell you, and I think you've had similar experiences, where when people see the videos and things I've posted, I get so much positive feedback. And that's not what I'm doing it for, but the point is people are saying, oh my gosh, I totally agree, this insanity, this woke insanity has to stop. And I think that most of us are on the same page, but not everyone is brave enough to say so. And it
Right.
always takes those first people. I use my boxing as an example because I was a pioneer in boxing, and I was one of those that took some of the flack because I was in the beginning. I'm not the only one, but I played a unique role. And so I think that's just the way it's always been. And we have a charge in life. And I'm that one of those people that does that and opens the doors and opens eyes to other people. Like, you don't have to fall into mediocrity. We all have an important role to play, and it's not going to be the same role, and that's okay. But I think it should be something that hopefully gives people the permission they're maybe looking for to be more bold, to be unafraid, to not be bullied. I say that like 25 times.
Yeah.
Don't be bullied. Don't be gaslit. You know,
Yeah.
don't give
No,
in to this psychological warfare that
yeah.
they've been pummeling us with. And so many people have woken up, Dave, you know this.
Yeah.
Woken up to the lamestream media. It's a joke, but we have to keep our eye, like, be aware. And here's some tools, because if it starts looking worse before it gets better, which is likely, because that's usually how it is, here's what you need to do. Keep your eye on God, stay strong, say these things, proclaim these, make these statements, and keep your hope. Don't fall for the tricks. And it's very practical. So anyway, that's a long answer to hopefully.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
I think that you and I both had some hard knocks. It's like,
Yes.
growing up in a household with alcoholic parents, 3 of the 5 brothers and sisters going down dark, bad paths. I learned a lot from all that, though, in a positive way from my life, because it was like,
nice.
Okay, don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go to a different route. My dog Lucy's saying hi, by the way.
Hi, Lucy.
He's 9-year-old chocolate lab. She's assistant producer on the show. But
I love her.
I know I'll have her so you can see her.
Wonderful.
But I think what I want to do right now is, before we go back to the book, I really quickly want to,
yes.
When I was checking into your story, I was fascinated. I want to brag about you a little bit here, and you can jump in any time. But so for all the listeners out there, I just want you to know that, Dallas is fighting right now for women's, rights. She was a pioneer in the boxing things, but as a child, she was quite musical. I can use all kinds of words, and I'm not going to list off all your accomplishments, but there are many. But your music work, you're a musician, and you are also all your boxing, but a bodybuilder, an actress. Did you really meet Tom Cruise and Jerry Maguire?
I did. He was great. He was.
Oh my gosh!
I can only say good things about that guy. People hate on that guy.
He's one of my favorite actors, and I like him.
Oh, he's amazing. He was so sweet and down to earth. I
really like his movies a lot.
Me too.
I was watching something the other day where they were talking about him running on top of the trains in one of the Mission Impossible movies. And so the insurance people and the producers are going, yeah, we can't do that scene. And so he goes, well, we need to find a new producer. So he actually did that scene. It's amazing the stunt stuff he does. It's incredible. But not only that, you did some TV stuff. And you did a Ring Girls ESPN documentary on girls boxing. You're a Christian woman. You're married to a super guy named Don. Your anniversary is June 28th. My birthday is June 29th.
Oh, wow.
I know. And you've got a person you work with a lot named Hayek. Is that saying his name right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So you've got him going. And I saw on your thing, on your Facebook page, you posted Alison Krauss singing with the Berkeley Gospel Ensemble, which was awesome. I love Alison Krauss.
Yeah,
that was a fun song. So I want everybody to know that you're dealing with a person here who's had a really interesting life. We just don't stop talking as soon as we get on the phone with each other. And so again, I think with all those experiences, not everybody gets to maybe have all those great things, but you've had a lot of rough stuff too, and I'm sure that plays out in this book.
Absolutely, it does. And it's interesting when you and I talked one of the first times. I think I told you this, that what's become really clear to me, and I felt like God was telling me this. A lot of what I've been doing, a lot of what I've gone through, because I'm very driven, and I always want to be further than where I am. And that's good and bad. It has to be managed. But it's the spiritual tools that allows me to balance that out and start to really trust God's timing. Because that's been one of the biggest lessons. Because it's like, no, I want it yesterday. It's terrible. I've experienced greed. I want this. I want to do this. I want to do this. It's like, okay, there's a time for things. But what I've come to realize is that a lot of the reasons some things have, in my mind, taken so long. Why is this taking so long? Why is everything so much harder than it has to be? Not to sound like a victim. I'm just saying, I always want more. I want to achieve more. And I realized that it's credibility. It's building up credibility.
Yep.
What good is it if I'm a coach telling people like, I mean, yes, people can learn things and they can share information and they can help and be motivational, and that's great. But if I tell you I was a 2.5 pack a day smoker, I was an alcoholic, I was a cokehead, and I came through that and I survived it. And I went through hell and I was insane and I went to treatment and I still wasn't ready. And, it's like, and it's not that everyone has to go through addiction. Everybody has this realm is hard. You've been through stuff. I've been through stuff, it's all relative. But the point is going through it, I survived. I'm better, stronger for it. I'm sharpened like a blade. And I have God, I have that relationship with Jesus Christ. That is the most powerful thing in the world. And that, coupled with all these things, I think someone might want to listen to what I have to say. I don't waste my time,
Well, I got to tell you, Dallas, we built a library downstairs, kind of in our front little smaller, sitting living room. And we had a lot of books.
Nice.
Judy was in education for 34 years, me 20, then the
Yeah.
school board stuff. And, we both like to read. And so we have a lot of versatility down there. And I
Nice.
started a couple of months ago where I just grab a book random off the shelf. Don't even look at it.
Oh, that's cool.
And in the morning, I'll just read the first sentence or two of each chapter. It takes like 10 minutes. I don't care how big the book is.
Mm.
And you come out of there, whether it's a self-help book or it's a sports book or a history book or whatever, mathematics book, doesn't even matter. You're kind of going, okay, at least I have a gist of what this whole book's about. And I think that, we were talking the other day, but Proverbs 3, 5, and 6 says, trust the Lord with all your heart, lean not on your own understanding.
Yes.
In all your ways acknowledge him, Jesus, and he'll make your path straight.
Yeah.
But I think the kicker there for like you and me is like he says straight, and he doesn't say easy. He says straight.
Yes.
It's
Right.
his straight, not our straight.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of people just don't quite get it, that life's tough. I was listening to Candace Owens the other day on a podcast, and she said one of the funniest things I've ever heard. This gal's getting up. She's pretty woke, and she's just kind of railing on, we feel terrible that you're on our campus. We don't like you, blah, blah, blah. Don't you feel bad that you're making all of us feel uncomfortable? And Candace Owens said, she goes, man, I'm 7 months pregnant. She goes, I don't have time for this. Get a helmet. Life's tough. She said, get a helmet. And I just cracked up at that because I'm like, get a helmet. Because I coach football. It's like, you're batting in a baseball cage. You're wearing a helmet because you don't want to get hit in the head.
Right.
And that just cracked me up because I think we need to be that way more with our younger people.
Absolutely.
Some of the stuff old people did were stupid and some was good. But I think one of the things we had back, I'm much older than you, but sometimes you just need somebody older than you to be blunt.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes in a book you can read it, and even though you didn't live what Dallas Malloy lived, you can relate to it in a different thing in your own life, like a divorce or maybe breast cancer. That could be something that would be as painful maybe and hard as an addiction. Right. And stuff. Hey, I want to take a quick break. I got a great question. Kansas City has produced this young lady that wants to ask you a question, and she knows exactly who you are. And she's our producer's daughter, and her name is Logan. And Logan's going to come in right now, and she's got a question for you. So, Logan, come on in and have a seat. I'm going to let Logan come in here and seat. She's a little nervous, I think, right now.
Hi.
This really is Dallas Malloy, so she's real. So, but she has some pretty good questions for you. So, go ahead.
So, I've been boxing for a little over a year. I'm really into it. I would like to pursue it in the future, but I just have a question for you. What advice would you give for a young aspiring female boxer? Like, what advice would you give?
Isn't that a great question?
That's a great question. I love it. And that's a great name, by the way, Logan. I love that.
Thank you.
Name. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, my advice is, first of all, if you're going to really get into competition, and have you had a competition yet? Have you had a bout yet?
Not yet, but I've been training
Okay.
for a while. Mhm.
Nice. Okay. So, well, first off, with the way USA boxing is now, they're allowing biological males to compete. So you have to stand up against that, first of all. So that's unfortunately something that we have to deal with. And the way to deal with it is to boycott it until they stop. So you keep training, keep your eye on the prize, keep going. But as far as and this is a two-part answer. So first of all, your biggest fight might be like mine was. It was outside of the ring. And that might be, you have to fight by refusing to get in the ring and don't allow yourself to be talked into, manipulated, like, oh, come on, Logan, it's going to be fine. No, even if you weren't going to have to fight a biological male,
100%.
it doesn't matter. It's the whole entity of USA Boxing. Did you know that they're doing that?
I wasn't aware of it, no.
Yeah, they announced that just in December, so it's still fairly new. But yeah, so it's something that it's insane. Most people don't agree with this. It's very dangerous, obviously. So just know that as long as they're doing that, you're going to have to just refuse and be strong and don't let yourself be bullied and talked into something that's crazy, because girls fight girls, boys fight boys, the end. Like, that's the way it has to be. Okay. But as far as your training and your journey and your mission with this, I just say, keep going strong, keep yourself mentally, physically strong, and just don't allow anyone to keep you from what you really, if this is your dream, just go all the way with it. And just, do you pray?
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay. I would just make that, like, every day that's the foundation of my life. And so I would just say that's the most powerful thing you can do, is to be the most powerful warrior you can be is spiritual, mental, physical, emotional, intellectual, and just be the whole package. And it starts with prayer. And you can keep it simple. You can just be like, God, help me through the day, make me the best fighter I can be, make me the best boxer I can be. And just when you get into that ring, you just be unstoppable, you'd be unshakable, you'd be unbreakable, because that's a decision you made. Visualize that fight, even if you're still just sparring and training right now. That's still, use your visualization and see that, and go through those images in your mind and see yourself being just absolutely strong and keeping those hands up. Keep your hands up.
That's what my coach always says.
Oh man.
Hey, Dallas, can I
Yes.
think I'm going to start this, but I want you to finish it.
Yeah.
I would say, as a coach, everything I've coached, the number one thing that any athlete needs, your generation, our generation, or anything, but your generation takes a huge knock on hard work. And so if you want to pass up everybody, I did, and I think Dallas was probably the same way. If you want to be really good, then you have to take that work ethic to places that it's going to push you and stretch you. So I have a T-shirt I wear quite a bit on Stand Tall. It's Rocky. Watch the movie.
Nice.
There's been a time in my life I watched that movie every day for about 2 weeks, because I couldn't help but not watch that movie and want to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and go train. And it is a movie, but you listen to the great athletes out there. And Dallas, can you speak to the work ethic?
I love that. Absolutely. That is absolutely true. You want to go above and beyond what anyone else is doing. And that movie is great. That there's a reason that people love that movie, even if people don't like boxing, that movie, because it encapsulates that heart, that absolute passion and just drive and discipline. And absolutely, it's all about that, and just staying ahead of everyone else. And it starts with that, making that mental decision. I'm just going to do that. And
it's hard. I mean,
it's very hard. Yeah.
Hard to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and
Absolutely.
put on
it's cold
sweats and go outside when it's cold or warm or hot, or, but I was always told by coaches, and I've said the same thing. The reason I could shoot a basketball so good was because I didn't have the money to go to camps, all the rich kids. And so I'd go out and shoot 500, 1,000 shots in a day. And I got to the
Yeah.
point where it was like, and I'm doing that now at this age, at my age, I'm doing it with golf because
Nice.
it's my new basketball and it's a
So
hard
cool.
game. But that was a great question. Thank you so much for coming on Stand Tall and talking to Dallas. Appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank
Okay.
you, Logan. You're great.
Thank you.
Keep
You
going
too.
strong.
We got a couple more minutes, and I want to get back big time on the book. Logan's great. It's so
Oh.
fun. I love young people's perspective on stuff,
Yeah.
and that she's a girl trying something outside the normal lane of boxing.
Yeah.
That right off the bat, she's tough enough to do that.
Yeah.
And I think hopefully she heard a couple of things you said there that might stick. I think, like your book though, Dallas, is like, what is moving forward? Tell us again the title, when
Sure.
it might, at least give us some more details on this thing, maybe a couple of chapter headings.
Okay, great. Yeah, it's Stand Up and Fight, Words of Courage from a Women's Boxing Pioneer. I don't even think I said that part before. And I said words of courage because one of the chapters actually is war songs. And
War songs?
you meant war songs. Yeah. It's chapter 4, I think. And I thought I would include in it because I put words of courage because, like I said, it's tools, it's scripture, it's parts of my story. And here's how, things you can use to help empower yourself. But
Sure.
I had the idea, or when I was putting it together, I released 5 songs in a couple of years ago in 2021, 22, especially when all the lockdowns were going on. And it was, I've been a lifelong musician, and I was taking voice lessons, and then I got into rap, and I love songwriting. And so I wrote these songs, and 4 of them are completely, they're war songs. They're, just, I'm talking about the psychological warfare and the insanity and the wokeism, and I'm just speaking against that. And just one of the songs is called Slaves and Criminals, and it came about because I was talking to my friends and I said, I'm not going to let them, meaning the establishment that's trying to shut us all down and do this crazy power grab that is very sinister, and I'm not going to let them turn us into slaves and criminals. That's what they want.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to do that. And I went home and I wrote this whole song. And so anyway, but I thought I'm going to put these lyrics in the book and give the story about how they came about. And I think it'll be encouraging and helpful. And so that's one of the, the points.
Do you think you'll have more of a play towards women, men, or do you think it'll be both? And do you think young people can dig it a little bit too?
That's a great question. I always have a hard time with well, who's your audience? I want everybody to read it, you know what I mean? But it's I honestly think it will probably be a mix. The natural, if I'm speaking more to women, great, but I don't think of it that way. I think it's very, I'm speaking to the heart of people, and I think that's a kind of a better way for me to think of it. And I'm speaking to that person that you, like,
Sure.
you said, was feeling nervous, that was feeling anxiety. Those people, men, women, young, old, whatever, and it's not for everybody. It's not everyone's flavor, and that's fine. I gave up being a people pleaser a long time ago, but I really am trying to reach that person and just say, you're not alone. Most of us actually are on the same page. And not that we all have to agree about everything. That's not the point either. But be encouraged. Let's not get caught up in culture war. Let's fight as needed, as directed. Let's do that. But let's also understand there's a bigger thing going on. This whole thing of interrupting, that's too nice of a word, disrupting, trying to destroy women's sports.
Don't you think like boxing is such a great example on that? Because I boxed as a kid, I told you, but nothing.
Yeah.
We in our neighborhood, we beat on each other with 12-ounce gloves, and we had a lot of fun and learned some stuff.
Yeah.
But in real boxing, you go into a ring with another woman, and there's rules and things you have to abide by. There's time for the rounds. Boxing has, put all that into play.
Yeah.
Somebody wins, somebody loses, or it's a draw sometimes. You walk out of that ring and it's done.
Mm-hmm.
And what we've lacked now in the last 5 years of our society, it's not done. You can't even get in a ring and to have an argument because, heaven forbid you jump out the ropes. I'm hearing of a lot of this uh, distrust and then a lot of unrest this summer, especially
Mm.
Portland, and I
Oh,
just, somebody has a little bit of inside information on that. And I was like, wow, I wasn't really ready for that comment. And I'm just waiting in line the other day, and this person told me that, and I'm like, what? Because I've seen the absolute destruction of Portland. They just tore it to
oh.
pieces. And
You mean the summer of love?
yeah, it was not that.
Yeah,
Holy smokes! But I think
it's
again
terrible.
that gets back to like like I was telling you, my wife Judy's had breast cancer, so she
Mm.
always says we have today, but we're not guaranteed tomorrow at all.
That's
You
right.
know, last week we had a
That's
61-year-old lady that we didn't know except through a friend, and she
mm.
passed away in the middle of the night in her sleep, and really wasn't all that ill. So what happened? I mean, it was just the Lord's time to take her, but
Yeah,
she's younger than both Judy and I, and we're like, whoa, it's kind of humbling.
yeah,
But I think as we, go forward, I really want again your book to be something that Stand Tall stands for. To me, that's standing tall. And I'm really
yeah.
proud of you because
Thank you.
the several conversations we've had, whether you're a woman or a man or a young
Yeah,
person, standing tall means standing tall.
yeah.
And I think book, obviously, very few people in this world ever get to write a book. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
But I always think if you and I can impact one person, about
Absolutely.
the Lord or about what we're talking
Yeah,
about, then we hit a grand slam home run. So
absolutely. Yes.
we want to like represent your book and other books like it, the next book you write,
Nice.
because I'm sure you're going to write another one. And if you get a
Oh
good
yeah.
song out there, and then you say, "Hey, Dave, I'm in
I
another movie with Tom Cruise," we want to pump that stuff out there, so we're getting people the good stuff to
I love that.
to listen
Yeah.
to. Whether it's and sometimes the truth isn't always that easy. But my last thing to
Yeah.
you, I wanted to comment on was a friend of mine told me a long time ago. We were coaching eighth grade football, bunch
Mm.
of rough kids, rough family lives, and I was a little frustrated with them athletically. And my buddy
Hmm.
Larry, who I just had lunch with 2 days ago, he's an awesome friend. And this was 22 years ago. He said, "Dave, everybody needs to be validated." What's that mean to you?
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. You're asking me.
Yep.
Ultimately, it has to come from God because our culture, that's such a great question, is obsessed with identity. Identity. And identity is so important. And people will fight for defending their identity like nothing else. And so
Right.
I think, yeah, but we have to be, it has to be bigger than so many of the labels that I think people tend to make up just to feel validated. I think that's the thing. And so to me, it's, you can't feel validated when people are coddling and enabling you, and that's why this situation is not working with a soft, you know, kind of silly, aimless culture is a terrible thing for everyone. It doesn't make you feel good. So I think you feel validated personally when you accomplish things and you do things that are difficult and you overcome obstacles. And that can
Sure.
be different for different people. Yeah, you and
Yep.
I know from doing, from any kind of sports and building muscle. I use, weight training is the best analogy for so many things, and it's like it's hard, there's a burn, it's painful in a good way, it's a productive pain, and then you recover and then you're stronger, and that's how everything is. And so I think that validates you, but I think the ultimate, it always comes back to spiritual. And if I you know I if I'm turning, I turn my will and life over to God as I understood him when I got sober, and that's continued to evolve. And I really leaned hard into Jesus Christ in the last few years, especially. And just like, it's not about the universe and all these ideas and whatever, and people have to start somewhere, and God meets you where you are. And that's wonderful. And it's an ongoing evolution. But I just feel like that's where I'm ultimately validated, because I'm always going to fall short. I will always be flawed. And so if you know your Christ identity, if you know you've made that decision, that's the ultimate, no matter what else happens. Yes, I think we still are, we have multi dimensions. We have to take care of our physical body, mental, spiritual, emotional, but it has to be, there has to be the foundation of your identity in Christ, your understanding of that. And I know a lot of people will be like, well, I don't believe in God. Well, I didn't either. And can you at least be open? And I think, people waste a lot of time getting into debates, and I don't, I don't like to waste time. And so I wouldn't want to argue with someone about the existence of God, because I've had experiences that you can't deny. So I'm not going to sit here and argue. No one can invalidate the experiences I've had. And so I think a better discussion is to argue for the necessity for God. I heard Dennis Prager talking about that one day. And I think that would be a good conversation. So I'd be willing to talk to someone about that. Why do you need God? Well, there's many reasons, but that's a long answer. Sorry, I go off.
Oh, you're good.
I think that's what it always comes back to.
So tell me the title of your book one more time.
Stand Up and Fight, Words of Courage from a Woman's Boxing Pioneer.
And it'll be out probably in the next couple months.
Yeah, in the next couple months. This is the 30th, so yeah, as fast as possible.
I tell people all the time, the root beer freezes at Gym 100 here in town, ice cream shop, will change their life. And I got a feeling a copy of your book's going to change somebody's life. I can't wait to read it, because I'll tell everybody that's listening, Dallas has changed my life from the standpoint of, I love to be around people who have energy and super polite, super kind. I can already tell you have a big, big heart. And Judy was asking me all about our conversations, like, what is she like? And I said, she cares. And I said, she has a heart for other people. And I think that'll jump off the pages out of your book. And I think that's why we have to take a chance to buy a book, read the first paragraph of every chapter, get a flavor for it, and then come back. And I'm not one of those people where you have to just page one, roll right through it. I like to flip around. But with that said, on Stand Tall with Dave Brown, .com, we will, as soon as we get all the details on Dallas's book, we'll have it on there, and we'll probably get several copies up here so we can ship them out, or, she'll have a method for you to do that with. And it'll be something where other people are coming out with books too. And we want to try to represent those. And like Dallas and I think what you're going to find is we're talking right now a lot about women's rights, girls' rights, girls playing girls' sports, boys playing boys' sports. This is so important, to me and my wife, Judy, that we did quit our coaching job over this University of Oregon. And I think it's one of those things where, but only a woman like my wife has had breast cancer. As a guy, I don't know. I mean, I'm sympathetic, and I love my wife, go to events with her. The events that Dallas has had to go through, same thing. She's talking about it from a woman's perspective, that a young lady like Logan can listen to, or somebody else. And I think sometimes women need to hear that message. But I would say a lot of us guys out there really need to just listen to people that care and have a passion. And if you're a dad out there and you have a daughter, I'd want to get a hold of this book. Listen to Dallas any way you can. We'll let you know the more we find out how to access those avenues, because, man, as a parent, if I had a daughter, I would want to listen to all this stuff so I could protect my wife. I want to protect my daughter. And so standtallwithDaveBrown.com, we're gonna sign off for now, but look on social media, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. We'll have some other stuff out there. And Dallas, you can't tell how much we appreciate you being on.
Oh, thank you so much. It's such a pleasure. You're great. You and Judy are just, it's right from the heart, you guys. That's why, when I saw your videos, I had to connect with you guys. So thank you so much.
So you're willing to come on again?
Absolutely. Let's schedule it right
Okay.
now. Yes.
All right.
I'm
We'll
looking
get it
forward.
booked out. So with all that said, we'd like to say thank you to everybody. Dallas, thank you so much for being on Stand Tall.
Thank you. It's my pleasure, Dave.
Okay. Thank you.
You guys gonna do
All
some,
right.
you
Thank
gonna
you.
do some shorts now, or
Yeah, you call it right there.
yeah, we're
Da-
Great.
I got a challenge for you. You got a couple more minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do a
Absolutely.
short, so it has to be 90 seconds or less. We'll put it out on Rose. Rose puts it out. Rob's doing all the stuff now. Rob's become a really good friend. He works at George Fox University. He's a big baseball
Nice.
guy, so we talk about that. He's from
Cool.
St. Louis, so he likes the Cardinals. So
Great.
we have all those talks. But as Rose is another lady we work with, but she does all the shorts out on social media. I'm thinking I'll just ask you a quick question, and you get like 1 to 7 words to answer it, and we'll go rapid
Okay.
fire
And
for 90
okay.
seconds.
That's a good
That-
challenge for me because you see, I
Then if you're up for it,
over-explain.
we can do that one. Then we can flip it. You can ask me a question, and I got to answer it quick. So 1 word to like 7 words.
Wow. Okay. No, I absolutely am up for the challenge.
I'm a tennis coach, so
Let's see.
I call it go go go.
Yeah.
So I'll have a question. It'll just be rapid fire. We don't have time
Okay.
to run a marathon here. This will be a 50-yard dash.
Okay. And then I'll ask you one kind of like that. Or
go ahead and give it a new open.
Okay, here we go. Stand Tall with Dave Brown here with Dallas Malloy, and we're going to get right after that. Dallas, what do you think about boys playing girls sports?
pure insanity. Stop it.
If you're a former boxer, why shouldn't boys be allowed in the ring?
They can be allowed in the ring with other boys. That's how it works.
There you go.
And it works really
Okay.
well.
What do you think about the boys being in the locker rooms?
That is criminal.
Okay.
Total insanity. Can't believe anyone has okayed this. I wonder how much money has changed hands.
What would you tell a parent that has a daughter and they're going to be in any kind of contest, volleyball, basketball, or anything, with a boy? What would you tell that parent?
You must boycott. Do not let her play. All stand together and refuse until they stop. Do not be bullied. The end.
So you have a young girl, she's 16 years old, and she's caught in that situation. Her parents aren't there to help her through it. What would you tell that girl?
Girl, you have to be super strong. This is your opportunity to be unshakable and unbreakable. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you have to stand up and say no. And don't worry about anyone criticizing you, because you know you're on the side of what is right and true, and you'll look back and be proud of what you did.
That is Dave Brown, Dallas Malloy on Stand Tall with Dave Brown. And Dallas, you have to do this now. You do that? There you go. Peace. We're out.
Love it. Love it.
We can do the flip
Oh,
it,
that
we
was
flip it.
cool. You want me to ask you some questions?
Yeah, we're going to flip it right now. Rob's ready to go. He's fast, man. He's ready to go. Are you ready?
Let's see.
So
Let me get a couple.
I'll start it off, and then I'll turn it over to you. Are you ready? Stand Tall with Dave Brown here with Dallas Malloy. She's going to ask me some questions. Fire away.
Dave Brown, what gets you out of bed in the morning?
I love life. I love that Jesus has put me in this situation at my age. Love it.
Favorite prayer?
I pray for my boys and our daughters and their wives and husbands and our grandkids the most. I honestly do. And I pray for our country a lot.
Very good. What have you learned from your dog?
I've learned from coaching. I've just learned that I've dealt with lots of different kinds of people, and they're all different, and I've got to adjust to those differences.
Nice. What is the dream for the rest of your life?
It wasn't going to be doing what I'm doing now. Stand Tall is my dream now, because I've got to meet you and Riley Gaines and Harris Faulkner and all these people. I want to meet all these people, not because you're famous, because I want to use this platform of my coaching and being on the school board to help any and every person I can out there navigate this tough time in our country.
Excellent. I have another question. I know the answer, but it's so great. I want you to say it for all to hear.
All right.
Tell me, what did you tell me is the best response when you're in a situation, you mentioned the school board, dealing with woke insanity and people are standing there emotionally yelling at you and accusing you of things that are not true? What is your response?
I've had some of the worst things you can possibly imagine said to me, and my first response is that's not true. And they're very emotional, and then they'll say something else, and they'll call me a racist or something really mean, really bad. It's not true, and I'll say that is not true, and now they get mad. So they're mad and emotional at the same time. And in athletics, if that happens, then you got them. Then they'll do it again. They'll come back at you with a right, left, right. They're coming at you hard with all their emotion, with all their anger. They're coming at me hard, and I'll say that is absolutely just not true at all. And
Nice.
I don't flinch. I don't yell. I don't say it loud. And they'll look at me, and then they get the best part of this is they get exasperated because they didn't get what they wanted. They didn't get that mad response, that I'm crying, I apologize response. It's not true. And they know it's not true already. They're just hoping that you'll bite on something so they can move on to their next person. But I've seen people do this literally in front of me, and they'll say, "Oh, I'm so sorry that I hurt your feelings," and they kick them to the curb so fast, it's crazy. They don't care about really the apology. It's just another notch in their belt.
Right.
And for woke people or whatever, I think there's got to be a book out there with a point value system like Amway, where they literally get points for being mean or rude. And I'm just not going to play that game. Dallas, I'm not going to play that game because I know I'm not a racist. I grew up with people from the West Indies since third grade. I'm like, holy smokes. I mean, I could tell lots of stories, and I don't have them all down pat, but I'm the last. My wife and I, oh my gosh, we love everybody. We don't care, brown, black, or white. We don't care. Homophobe, nope. Racist, nope. We're just not. So I think that's a great question. This is Stand Tall with Dave Brown and with Dallas Malloy. We're going to do this again and again. Her book will be coming out soon, so be ready for that. We'll be helping push that out for her. And I'm excited for Dallas to have that book come out. It's been a great pleasure to meet you.
Thank you so much. Yes,
you're welcome, Dallas. Have a great Saturday. And this is Dave Brown with Stand Tall. Peace.
Peace.
We're off. Now we're off air.
Yay!
I
got nervous.
Dallas, thank you so much for doing that. This is Rob right here.
Hello.
Hey, Rob. Yeah. Nice.
Thanks for talking with my daughter. She